Welcome to the show. I'm Katkatibi, and today I'm going to be doing a quick solo episode because I want to talk about relationships more on the channel. And one of the things that my girlfriends and um, my husband's friends and everybody that I've met that they have a lot of problems with when they're dating is mismatched cleanliness styles. And I think that that's something you don't even think about. You just assume that things will kind of like work themselves out when you get married. And sometimes they do. But what I tend to see is a lot of times that they don't, depending on how somebody's raised, how the cleanliness was in their house, or how they take care of themselves. It's it's a cause of a great deal of friction. So if you can kind of work that stuff out before you get married, you're going to be in a much better situation going forward. So, one thing you can do with that is watch how people clean up very closely. If they live alone, you're in a lot more luck because this will show you exactly what to expect. If they have roommates, you have to look at the common areas because there's a diffusion of responsibility and they could be like fighting over who's going to clean up after who in the kitchen. The garbage is always like a war. So, roommates, you just want to look at their room. And if they have their own bathroom, that bathroom. But if they live with their parents and the parents are a mess, but the room is clean, that's great. But if their parents are clean and so is the room, you got to watch out because they might be grown children who still have their parents clean up after them. And they're going to expect you to do the same for them. And I mean, this could be for a girl or a guy, whatever. It doesn't even matter. So cleaning up in the way I'm going to explain it is impossible and unsustainable to do after somebody. And I'll explain a little bit more why. I'm not talking about like chores, like say if you have a stay-at-home wife and they can do chores and you can negotiate who does what or whatever. Chores to me are like more big tasks, like laundry, dishes, cleaning the floors, counters, taking out the trash, and so forth. Those are usually assigned to one specific person in the household. Everyone knows what their job is, and you have zero diffusion of responsibility. But when I refer to cleaning, it's the stuff that you do to make everything look like exactly how it was before you used it. Like, for example, let's say you're going to go look for something in a drawer, you put everything back exactly how you found it. If you finish the toilet paper roll, you put a new roll on and you throw the thing in the trash. You don't just leave it like a disaster. Just basic courtesy, basic maintenance. If you shave on the sink, you don't leave your stubble hairs all over the counter. When you wash your hands, you don't just splash water around willy-nilly, like, whatever. So these are things that you can't expect someone to do for yourself. And let's say. So it's kind of like this is just part of being an adult. This isn't something that other people are supposed to do to you, for you. If you want to live without doing these things, now that's expecting a lot of somebody else because you better be, I don't know. I think a decent person wouldn't expect someone to do these little micro things to just make things how they were afterwards. Let's say you make over $100 million and you find someone, which is crazy to me if you're wealthy or whatever, that you would even want someone to just follow you around and clean up, and you just throw things. You take off your shirt, you throw it, you walk in muddy feet all over the house and you're like, I don't care about anybody. Like this is insanity to me. Like I don't care if you're a trillionaire. I don't care if you're the king. No, like that to me, I couldn't stand being around someone like that. It's just like a complete disregard for other people and disrespect for everyone else. And you just think you're like better than everyone. So I couldn't do that. But if you find someone who agrees before you get married to wait on you like that, then, they agreed. But I think it's crazy. So let's get into organizing styles. There are two types of fairly decent people. This is going to be, most people will fall into these two organizing styles. One is, I need to find it fast. And the other one is, I need to put it away fast. So these people, they can have mild ADHD. They can get stressed out easily. They're more comfortable in a little bit of a mess. They're more used to a mess. So that's one type. But the best type is, I need to find it fast and I need to put it away fast. That's the best type. But with that type, it could come with a little more OCD. They worry about too much about how people think about them, how they are viewed by others. They can also be incredibly emotionally healthy and emotionally stable people. They're organized, they're go-getters, they clean up after themselves, they know where everything is, they put it away where it's supposed to go. These people are killing it in life. So somebody like that would probably not go very well with someone who's, I need to find it fast. I need to put it away fast. So I need to put it away fast. Everything could be kind of messy because they just want to put it away. So they don't care where it is as much as someone who's like, I need to find it fast. I need to put it away fast. We'll shove it in a drawer. And they're like, it's away. I need to find it fast. It needs a space. Thank you. Anyways, so let's see. So the worst types of disorganized people are, I call them complete chaos. Everything's everywhere, no organization. With some, they clean and then put the mess back on top. With others, they don't even clean. This could be ADHD, severe manic depressive disorders, severe depression, super high cortisol people, unmanageable trauma. They can have anger issues associated with cleaning, perhaps from childhood, or being passive aggressive towards their parents in childhood and then their spouse in adulthood. Basically, this is the type of person that probably needs therapy. They could also have dementia, which people don't think about. They could be on their way to dementia. They could also have schizophrenia. And these are the type of people that they need help. There's a lot going on here. And I have friends that, because they're so fun and, great to hang out with, they end up married to someone who has all these problems. And then they find out shortly later, oh, this person has a lot more mental issues than I signed up for. But these people can be fun. Schizophrenics can be hilarious when they're mild early on. Anyway, so I have a story about what I like to call the story of the unclean wife. And I'm going to talk about guys after, so don't come at me. So I've told this before, but I'm going to go, it's worth repeating. So I know of a guy who married a girl whose house he never visited. She lived with her parents. They always met at outside events, or she went to his house. And he never saw how her parents lived or her bedroom. No idea. They get married. Within 3 months, the walls were black with grease from her hands because they were always filthy. The cabinet doors to the brand new home that his dad bought them were sticky and coming off the hinges because how rough she treated them. She never cleaned up after herself. She was an extreme hoarder. And he tried for 2 years to clean up after her. But it was at a level that was completely unmanageable, and he loved her, and he tried to offer her therapy, tried to offer to hire someone to help her, or offered her mom to come and help her, a whole bunch of things. But she refused. She was offended by it, and she didn't feel like she had to change. So eventually he became disgusted with her and ended the marriage. And he found a girl who looked ironically identical to her, but she comes from a very Hispanic household. And Hispanic households, if you know anything about them, they are very big on cleaning is fundamental to self-respect and respecting others. So everybody's like usually very clean. It's very rare to find a Hispanic household that's messy, because it's very cultural that cleanliness is important. Anyways, so I mean, that's pretty sad and depressing to go through, just because you didn't vet the person that you were going to marry beforehand. I mean, that's traumatic to go through, like a divorce and a marriage and years of fighting over these things that you just didn't know because you had no communication about this. So that's why I think it's better to vet before marriage instead of just going with I love them, because love can fade if you don't have communication and respect. And but if you have communication and respect, you can grow to love, not the other way around. So since we're talking about cleanliness and organization, let's talk about self-cleanliness and self-care maintenance. So now we're going to talk about a guy. So before that, I've heard of girls who've, I know I have a very specific story, but let's say girls who get married to guys and then they find out the bad breath wasn't like a gut issue. It wasn't like anything like that. They found out it was because they refused to floss. They refused to brush their teeth. And they refused to go to the doctor because they knew something was wrong and it was going to be expensive. So their coping mechanism was, I will just avoid it. So incredibly horrible. So, I mean, I had an inkling that this particular guy was like that. And I kind of told my friend, because when I went to his parents' house one time with her, it was extreme hoarding, mental illness, hoarding. It was very scary. And I was like, you sure he's okay? Have you, like, he's very fun. He's very charismatic, out on about, and, whatever. And he took her out places. He really loved her and all that stuff. But I'm just like, I don't think something's right here. But then she found this out after they were married. He had a whole ton of health problems he did not disclose to her. And he was very, very adamant about not fixing anything. And this is who he is. And you got to accept him. And it got to the point where she didn't want to kiss him. She didn't want to touch him. She was grossed out. I mean, all of these things can just be fixed if you just look at a person for the facts. Like, ask other people, what do you think? And be very receptive to their answers, and try not to, don't ask people who are jealous about you, that want the worst for you. Ask someone who has your best interest at heart. Someone who is, that like when you tell them good news, they're happy for you. They don't like try to one up you. So anyways, legend has it, this guy is still single. So yeah, that marriage did not work out. And I do not advocate for divorce. I advocate for proper vetting before marriage. I advocate for immediately putting it all on the table and having all the scary conversations up front, and not making covert contracts, which is a huge thing that everybody's doing. Covert contracts are like when you go, I'm gonna have 3 kids, but then he's gonna support me and I don't have to go back to work. But you didn't tell him that. You just assumed that he was okay with that. Or maybe his mom was a stay-at-home mom and you assumed he was going to be also okay with you being a stay-at-home mom. But maybe he's not okay with that and you never had that conversation. So now here you are with 3 kids, working, resenting him, tired, exhausted, not a good relationship with the kids, because you didn't have the hard conversations up front. People need to stop trying to avoid things and I think the people who avoid them, they know what the answer is going to be. They know it's not going to be a good answer, and that's why they're avoiding it. And that's why these things happen, because you're avoiding it. You need to have these conversations. And going forward, I'm going to cover a few things just from my experience, people I know, things that are going on now, the newer generation that maybe we didn't have as many problems before because we knew these were just common sense wisdom that we had. But I don't feel like people are listening to their grandparents or great grandparents. They're listening more to the horror stories, like don't trust anybody, everybody's like this, like very negative. People are watching too many Lifetime movies. They think everybody's gonna kill them for insurance money or something. So anyways, that's all for today. It's just a little quick one, and I'm gonna hopefully do another quick one maybe Monday. So I'm trying for Monday. If you have any ideas for any topics on dating and relationships, things that are not commonly covered, like something niche like this, let me know in the comments. And if you think I should have anyone on the show to talk about dating and relationships, please comment below or reach out to me on my website, katkhatibipodcast.com, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by.